Now, the city of Leeds is located in West Yorkshire, around 30 miles northeast of Manchester. As of 2022, Leeds was estimated to have had a population of around 822,000 residents currently living in and around the city of Leeds, technically making it one of the largest cities in England. In terms of population, Leeds is actually statistically the most dangerous major city in West Yorkshire, with the crime rate in Leeds being 150 crimes per 1,000 people. This then being 17% higher than West Yorkshire's rate of 128 crimes per 1,000 people. Now, what a lot of the residents currently living in and around the city of Leeds are unaware of, however, is the long-standing gang feud that has been playing out within the streets of Leeds, resulting in multiple murders, stabbings, and shootings being carried out by teens that have found themselves in a deadly and bloody gang war with one another. This being the beef between 3, 7, and 9, as well as affiliated gangs like 7th, 8th, and 6. All of these gangs being relevant to the rivalry. Before I start this video, however, YouTube says only 5% of you are subscribed, so if you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe and like the video as it helps out the channel. But without further ado, sit back and enjoy this video.
3 men have today been jailed for life over the murder of a 19-year-old who died after being shot in broad daylight.
They heard in court that Mr. Lewis was a member of the Chapeltown gang, The Flock, and was shot in the head on his doorstep in the house that he lived in with his mother and Reginald.
I'm trapping, like all the phones that keep banging, like all the dots that I'm slanging, swear to God, fam, it's a mad thing, like all...
What stopped in my pockets are max, slap at her bodies and slap at her hats, being on scenes, I'm watching my back, beef is beef, gotta leave it.
Now, the first street gang is 3-7, which is a crew that draws members from multiple areas within Leeds, these including Chapeltown from the LS7 postcode, as well as Beeston from the LS11 postcode. It's rumored that the 3-7 gang is mainly made up of younger members, who hailed from the Flock gang from Chapeltown LS7. The gang is affiliated with a few other local gangs that are relevant to the rivalry, these including 7th and Flock, these being 2 affiliated gangs mainly situated around the Chapeltown area within Leeds. This Chapeltown area is actually known for quite a large amount of crime within Leeds. 3-7 are also closely affiliated with another gang known as mdot, which is based around the area of Meanwood, more specifically the Beckhill estate, within the LS7 postcode. Other gangs like LL from Little London are also somewhat relevant, although this rivalry can actually get quite confusing, so I'll do my best at explaining it simply. Now, the gangs that directly oppose 3-7, 7th, Flock, and mdot within this rivalry include 9, which is a large street gang mainly based around the Ebor Gardens and Bermontofts area of Leeds. Both areas, in fact, being within the LS9 postcode, hence the gang name being 9. Another gang closely allied with 9 is a gang called 8th, this 8th crew being located around the area of Gipton, as I'm sure you can guess, within the LS8 postcode. The last gang affiliated with 9 is that of 6 from the area of Woodhouse within Leeds, more specifically around the LS6 postcode. Other gangs also involved in the rivalry include Hell Gang from the Hare Hills area, although most of the membership of this gang is in fact in jail after members went on to commit a murder, which I will discuss later. So for simplicity's sake, the deadly rivalry I will be discussing within this video is 3-7, 7th, Flock, and mdot versus 9, 8th, and 6. Now, you may be confused as to what occurred that then led to teens from areas so close to one another beginning to have a deadly and bloody feud with each other, resulting in stabbings, shootings, and murders occurring within the city of Leeds. Now, it's rumored that there wasn't always a rivalry between the 3-7 gang as well as the 9 gang, with the 2 crews even allegedly being affiliated around 2018. However, this would all change around 2019 when alleged 3-7 gang members attempted to rob a bando that they had mistaken for their rivals. However, what they then came to realize was that this trap house belonged to 9 members, whilst it's not known if anyone was seriously injured during this incident. What is rumored is that the gangs began to beef following this. However, before the rivalry between 3-7 and 9 began, the gangs closely aligned with both 3-7 and 9 would be at war, these being Flock from Chapeltown LS7 and Hell Gang from Hare Hills LS8, this rivalry getting bloody when a member of the Flock gang would be killed by Hell Gang members in 2017. On the 26th of January 2017, 19-year-old Raheem Wilkes, or RZ, who was actually the brother of the English footballer Malik Wilkes, and was allegedly associated with the Flock gang from the LS7 postcode. Anyways, on the 26th of January 2017, at around 1 p.m., RZ would be standing outside of a barber's in Hare Hills, Leeds. Sadly, what RZ was unaware of was the fact that a group of Hell Gang members were fed information regarding to his whereabouts, with the group of rival Hell Gang members riding out in a car looking for RZ. After a few minutes of looking, the group of Hell Gang members noticed 19-year-old RZ. RZ was then shot in the chest by one of the gang members who used a self-loading pistol. Shortly following the shooting, the Hell Gang members fled to Bradford and disposed of the weapon, as well as their clothes. Sadly, 19-year-old Raheem Wilkes, or RZ, was later pronounced dead, with a murder investigation then being launched by West Yorkshire Police. In the end, however, 24-year-old Jaden Manners, 29-year-old Tremaine Wisdom, and 21-year-old Keel Richards were arrested and charged in connection to the murder of RZ, eventually all three being found guilty of his murder, getting sentenced to life with a minimum of 33 years. Rest in peace, Raheem Wilkes, or RZ. Now, shortly after the murder of RZ, new gangs in the area became more prominent, example being 3-7, who are believed to have younger members of another gang known as Flock, which was in a deadly beef with Hell Gang at the time. Anyways, the 3-7 gang would be in a deadly rivalry with 6 from Woodhouse, LS6, this getting deadly on the 16th of July 2018, when police would be called to Chapeltown to reports of a shooting. Upon arriving, a 17-year-old alleged 3-7 gang member would be taken to hospital where his injuries were assessed as non-life-threatening. He was then released from hospital, but was arrested days later, as only hours before the 17-year-old was shot. Him and other affiliated gang members used a firearm and shot toward a rival's house. The 17-year-old was charged with possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life and criminal damage, and was sentenced to 12 months in a young offenders institution. The violence wouldn't end here, however, and just a few weeks later, on the 1st of August 2018, sadly a member associated with the Flock gang would be killed by Hell Gang members, leading to multiple members being arrested. This then meant that the Hell Gang became less prominent within the streets of Leeds. On the 1st of August 2018, 24-year-old Christopher Lewis, or C, who was allegedly affiliated with the Flock gang, would be standing outside of his mum's house in Chapeltown, LS7. Whilst outside, a group of Hell Gang members, who had been stalking him in the hours earlier, with it even being known that his house was shot at a day earlier. Anyways, the group of Hell Gang members noticed C and shot him in the head, before fleeing seconds later. 24-year-old Christopher Lewis was rushed to hospital following the shooting, but was sadly pronounced dead in hospital the following day, with yet another murder investigation being launched. In the end, following a trial, 5 men were arrested in connection to the killing of 24-year-old Christopher Lewis, all going on to be charged and found guilty. During the trial, it was said that Christopher Lewis was in fact a member associated with the Flock gang from Chapeltown, LS7, which was one of the largest and most notorious gangs in Leeds at the time. Either way, however, rest in peace, Christopher Lewis, or C. Now, around this time, rappers from 3-7 began to become more prominent within the Leeds drill scene. Example being M3, YZ, and AR, who all linked up and released a freestyle titled Straight Bars. Within this track, the rappers showed love to RZ, who had sadly passed only months earlier, saying,
Rest in peace RZ, but never forgotten, RZ for L.
just showing that the death of RZ had really affected his friends. Rest in peace. It's believed that around this time, 2019 and 20, both 9 and 3-7 began to rival one another, this being following an alleged robbery. It's rumored that members of 3-7 and 7th then released a track where they directly disrespected the 9 gang. This disrespectful track, rapped by 7th members, resulted in 3-7 and affiliated gangs having a deadly rivalry with 9 from the LS9 postcode, as well as other affiliated gangs, with this beef getting deadly at the beginning of 2022, when a 3-7 member would be attacked by rivals from the 9 gang. On the 24th of August 2022, at around 10 a.m., police would be called to the Seacroft area of Leeds, within the LS14 postcode. Upon arrival, a man in his 20s, who was rumored to have been associated with the 3-7 gang, would be suffering life-threatening stab wounds. It's rumored he was rushed to hospital by an air ambulance, and was in critical condition, left fighting for his life, luckily making a recovery in the days following the attack. Shortly after police were called on the 24th of August 2022, the local police were given increased stop and search powers. This meant police officers could search people, as well as their vehicles in the area. This then leading to 2 men being arrested in connection to the stabbing only hours later. However, I couldn't find if anyone was charged, with it being believed that the attackers were in fact rival gang members. However, this is just alleged, and isn't confirmed. Now, around this time, both the 3-7 gang, as well as the 9 gang began to consistently release music. On the 3-7 side, the rappers Drills, C-Miz, and Hems released a track titled 3-7 Step on Press Play Media, this actually doing decent numbers, currently sitting on around 77,000 views. Another 3-7 rapper known as Dins released a freestyle video. Within this music video, red bandanas were quite prominent, with everyone repping them. Cash from the 9 group released a track around this time titled Gully, garnering around 115,000 views, which is very impressive for an underground UK rapper. This track was actually seriously cold, and painted the real truth behind the road life, and how he hopes that he can change his life through music, as well as how the UK drill scene is somewhat somewhat fake. Sadly, however, around this time, at the start of 2023, an alleged member associated with the 9 gang would be killed by rivals believed to be from the 3-7 and M Block gang. On the 31st of March 2023, 18-year-old Jamie Mia, or JM, who was rumored to have been an associate of the 9 gang from LS9. Anyways, Jamie would be with a 16-year-old friend in Armley, LS12, when a car containing 3 alleged rivals from the M Block and 3-7 gang pulled up. They noticed 18-year-old JM and his friend. With a fight then ensuing, both JM and his 16-year-old friend were stabbed during this altercation. Both were rushed to hospital, with the attackers fleeing seconds later. Sadly, however, JM was pronounced dead, whilst his friend went on to make a recovery. A murder investigation was then launched. However, by the time police had a clue on who the defendants were, the attackers had fled the country, only one of them going on to appear in court, charged with the murder of 18-year-old Jamie Mia, this being 23-year-old Ronnie Wilkes. This was in fact the brother of RZ, who was killed in 2017, this then making him the other brother of England footballer Malik Wilkes. Jamie Mia was actually expecting a child, who was later born in November 2023, this just making the entire situation worse. Jamie Mia's family have since released a statement in which they said, "The heartache of losing Jamie is something that continues to stay with us every day since his murder. Today is the first birthday of his son, and while this is a cause for celebration, it is also, for us, a painful reminder that Jamie is not here to be a part of his son's life, and never will be. Rest in peace, Jamie Mia. My thoughts and prayers go out to his friends and family." Now, following the death of JM, a freestyle portraying him rapping would actually be released, and he sounded seriously cold on this freestyle, which makes me think that he could have possibly gained a lot of attention within the UK drill scene, possibly being able to make it out of the streets. But sadly, the endless and pointless gang war in Leeds claimed his life. Rest in peace, JM. One of the people believed to be on the run for the murder of JM was actually Q-Biz from the M Block gang. Q-Biz had even featured on UK drill songs, example being a track titled How Many Times, which released on GRM Daily. This track garnered loads of attention, further shining a spotlight on the Leeds drill scene, currently sitting on around 3.4 million views, which just shows that Q-Biz could have taken the drill scene seriously, but chose to focus on the gang life, and must now pay the consequences. Despite this, however, the war in Leeds was continuing, and just weeks following the murder of JM, an alleged 15-year-old 7th member would be stabbed by a rival gang member, almost claiming the teen's life. On the 16th of April 2023, at around 6 p.m., police would be called to the Hare Hills Park area within the LS9 postcode. Upon arriving, a 15-year-old, who was rumored to have been affiliated with the 7th gang, would be suffering head injuries after he was attacked by a rival who wielded a machete-type weapon. The 15-year-old was rushed to hospital, where he was treated for head injuries, eventually being released in the following days, where police then implemented stop and search powers in the Hare Hills area, as well as nearby Chapeltown. Just weeks following this attack, on the 1st of June 2023, 9 rapper Polo dropped a track titled Really Need It on the P110 channel, this currently sitting on just over 100,000 views. As I'm sure you can tell, the rappers on all sides of this rivalry have serious potential, however, lack the consistency to blow in the UK drill scene, as realistically consistency is everything. Sadly, however, just over a month after Polo released this song, in August 2023, the war in Leeds would continue, with an alleged member of the 9 gang sadly falling victim to the deadly gang war in Leeds. On the 26th of August 2023, 19-year-old EMan, or Emmanuel Nyabako, who was allegedly associated with the 9 crew from the LS9 postcode, would be riding an e-bike in Chapeltown with a friend during the early hours of the morning. Whilst riding around the area, EMan and his friend noticed a group of rivals alleged to be from the 3-7 gang. The pair then fired shots from their e-bike toward the rivals. However, all bullets missed. A chase then ensued between the 3-7 members, as well as 19-year-old EMan. EMan was chased into a dark garden, where he was then attacked, stripped, and was stabbed 17 times. EMan was then dragged onto a nearby road and was left, with the attackers fleeing seconds later. At around 2 a.m., police and emergency services would arrive on the scene. 19-year-old EMan was then rushed to hospital in an ambulance, and was sadly pronounced dead only moments later, with yet another murder investigation being launched. On the 1st of September 2023, 33-year-old Philip Bryant was arrested and charged with EMan's murder, whilst 2 other men were arrested in November 2023 and were charged with murder. Following a full trial, all 3 men were sentenced to life with a minimum of 27 years. Rest in peace, Emmanuel Nyabako, or EMan. Now, following the murder of EMan, a rapper from 8th known as Crizzy released a track titled Thierry Henry. Within this song, Crizzy mentioned that 8th or 8th side was winning the beef, and were well known in Leeds for being dangerous, as well as showing love to EMan. This song garnering around 50,000 views in the months following its release, which just shows that these rappers have real potential in the drill scene. However, if anything, the Leeds drill rappers are all very inconsistent, and focus on the road life instead of making a way out of the streets through music. Unfortunately, however, the beef in Leeds was just going to continue into 2024, with more shootings and stabbings occurring within the city of Leeds. On the 7th of July 2024, at around 3 p.m., police would be called to an area in Leeds to reports of a firearm offense. Upon arriving on the scene, 4 teens were arrested and charged with attempted murder, as well as possession of a firearm. The arrested included a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, 17-year-old, and finally an 18-year-old, who all appeared in court, but are yet to be found either guilty or not guilty. Just a few months following this incident, in October 2024, a 16-year-old was attacked by a group of gang members in the area of Beeston. The 16-year-old sustained multiple knife wounds to his leg and arm, as well as injuries on his left arm that are consistent with that of a shotgun discharge. The 16-year-old was taken to hospital where he luckily survived, with another investigation being launched. Since this incident, 2 have been arrested, but are yet to be either found guilty or not guilty. Now, no other incidents have occurred within the streets of Leeds. If you have learned anything from this video, however, make sure that it is to stay out of the streets, or as far away from them as possible, as this road lifestyle that you see these rappers living often only leads to jail or death and rarely anything positive. When you're riding life for the people that you thought were your friends, they will forget about you and move on with their life, just proving that the road and gang life is not worth living. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe. As I said at the start of the video, only 5% of people are subscribed, so feel free to subscribe as it goes a long way.